What's up guys, my name is Ace and welcome back to How to Dominate, the series where I share tips and strategies that help me find consistent success while playing a particular game mode solo. These are the things that allow me to lead nearly every lobby I play in and win as many games as possible. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing how to dominate Team Deathmatch. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to discuss is what is our actual goal with trying to dominate a lobby of Team Deathmatch? Is it about getting the most kills? Well, not necessarily, because if you're getting 30 kills and 50 deaths, you are not helping your team win, and you are obviously not dominating either. So is it about highest kill-death ratio? No, once again, not necessarily about the highest kill-death ratio, because if you're only getting 3 kills and 1 death in an entire game of Team Deathmatch, you're really not contributing too much towards the win, and you are definitely not dominating, even though you have a 3 kill death ratio. So what is it really about? Well, for me, it's really about the highest kill spread that you can possibly get. So kill spread is basically the difference between the number of kills you have and the number of deaths you have. So if you have 30 kills and 10 deaths, you have a kill spread of 20. Whereas if you have 3 kills and 1 death, you only have a kill spread of 3, so you're only 2, wow, math, hard. You're only contributing 2 kills towards your team, rather than 20 if you're doing the 30 and 10. So my aim with Team Deathmatch is to always get as many kills as possible without giving up any unnecessary deaths. So how do I get this high kill spread? Well, it's definitely not by camping in one spot or sitting in corners waiting for people to run by. And it's also not running around mindlessly trying to find that next kill. The way I do this is by a playstyle that I like to call tactically mobile. Now, before we get into this actual playstyle and explaining how it works and everything and how to achieve that highest kill spread, I want to talk about my score streak recommendations and basically just class recommendations overall. So for score streaks for Team Deathmatch, you can use pretty much anything you want, but a good rule of thumb that I like to use for score streaks is make sure you feel confident that you can earn your highest score streak on a relatively consistent basis. I'm not saying you have to be able to earn it every single game you play in, but if you play 10 games in a row and you're not earning your highest score streak in any of those games, it's probably just a little bit too high for you. So for me, for Team Deathmatch, it's usually right around that 1,000 score point. So a Warbird with a couple modules on it is what I feel comfortable earning nearly every game. In Team Deathmatch, this equates to basically a 10 kill streak. I feel confident that I can go on a 10 kill streak to earn my Warbird nearly every game in Team Deathmatch. As for perks, I definitely recommend low profile. This is one that I would say is almost a necessity with the playstyle I'm going to be explaining to you guys. So I would say low profile almost for sure if you're playing Team Deathmatch. For Perk Two, this is where you have a lot of freedom. You can use basically whatever you want. Just by habit, I typically use Blind Eye, but it's not domination, so there aren't streaks everywhere in Team Deathmatch. Sure, there might be a couple streaks that pop up, so Blind Eye is useful, but I would say it's not really a necessity like it pretty much is in domination. You can use whatever you'd like in Perk 2. And finally, for the Tier 3 perks, I would recommend Toughness, because with this playstyle that we're going to be using, we are going to be getting into some longer range gunfights relatively often, and this is where Toughness really plays a big role, so I would say definitely Toughness. Blast Suppressor is helpful, but I would say not necessary for this particular playstyle and everything we're going to be using, so it's really up to you, and Scavenger would definitely be helpful as well. So really just pick what you want out of there. You could maybe even use Hardwired if you want, but I don't think there's really too many system hacks in Team Deathmatch. At least I rarely run into system hacks, so I don't know if you really need it, but it is something that you can use. As for a gun, for this playstyle, I highly recommend using a mid to long ranged assault rifle. So something like a BAL, an AK-12, ARX, IMR, or HBR3, any one of these will work just fine. There's even a couple other ones that would still work just fine, but these are the ones that just came to the top of my head right away, so those would be the ones I'd recommend. Some are going to work better than others, but it allows you for some variety. So that's kind of the general rules that I like to follow for my classes when I'm trying to use the tactically mobile playstyle. So now let's actually explain what this tactically mobile playstyle is. So essentially, the key to this playstyle is you keep your teammates close and you use them as a safety net. Typically in Team Deathmatch, you're going to have a large mass of teammates, and then you might have the odd person that he's kind of a stray guy that wanders off into the enemy spawn or just wanders off on his own. You want to stick close to the main mass of your team. Now, this is something that is unique to Advanced Warfare, at least for me. In previous Call of Duty games, I always made it my mission in Team Deathmatch to get as far away as possible from my teammates and basically try to wreck the enemies in their spawn. With the way the movement and everything works in Advanced Warfare, you do not want to be surrounded, and it's way too easy to be surrounded if you are on your own without any team support. So I don't recommend using this lone wolf playstyle in Advanced Warfare. I definitely recommend keeping your teammates close and using them as a safety net. So using this playstyle allows you to control the pace of the fighting that you're getting in. So if it's getting a little bit too hot for you, it's getting a little bit too fast paced, all you have to do is sort of retreat behind your teammates. You get in behind your teammates into the safety net that is behind your teammates, and now basically your enemies have to kill your teammates in order to get to you, which still could happen, but it at least gives you that little bit of breathing room to reload or call in score streaks or just sort of regain your composure before pushing back out and attacking the enemies again. So you control the pace that way. If it's getting too hot, you back off behind your teammates. And also on the other end of that, if it's getting a little bit too quiet and you want to get some action, you can push up and be sort of the spearhead for your team. You don't want to push completely away from your teammates, but you can just be that guy on the front line of your team, of the mass of your team. You can be the guy out there getting those kills and not sitting back and just waiting for the enemies to come to you. You still can be relatively aggressive with this. Just remember, don't get too far separated from your team. You always want to have somewhere that you can retreat to where you have the safety of your teammates. So a big thing to point out is once you do retreat to the safety of your teammates, you're kind of behind your teammates, this is a great opportunity to pick off enemies as they are basically fighting your teammates that are in front of you. Because they're going to be worried about the guys that are right in front of them. They're not worried about the guy that's hanging out like 30, 40 feet back. They're worried about the guy that is directly in front of them that they're fighting against, which is your teammate. So while he's busy dealing with your teammate, you can easily pick him off from a distance using your mid to long range gun. This is why we use that mid to long range assault rifle with this playstyle. You can pick enemies off at a distance, but you can also use it to push up and be relatively aggressive with at the same time. So that's pretty much the playstyle. You want to flow around the map with your team, because this mass of your teammates typically doesn't sit in one spot all game. Sometimes it happens. It really depends on the map and how everything plays out. But more often than not, this mass of your teammates is going to be flowing around the map. You want to stay with that mass of teammates. You don't want to get left behind, and you don't want to push out away from them too far. Another thing to point out with this is it's great to stay at least somewhat close to the edge of the map. Now, I'm not saying you have to hug the border of the map, the entire map, and basically touch the edge of the map. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying stay close enough to the edge of the map that you'll feel confident that there isn't an enemy between you and the edge of the map. Because if that happens, that means you're basically getting surrounded and you're going to be in big trouble. That's what we want to try to avoid in Team Deathmatch, is getting surrounded. Also, when you do stick to the edge of the map like this, you're basically cutting off one direction that an enemy can get to you from. So now you only have to worry about 3 directions. Now when you also consider that you have that mass of your teammates that you can escape to, that's your safety net, that's at least one more direction that is considered safe most of the time. So now you really only have to worry about 2 directions that enemies can typically get to you from. Of course, every now and then they'll sneak right through your entire team and shoot you in the back. That happens, and it's really frustrating, but we do what we can with this, and we assume that situation is going to be safe most of the time. Another big tip that I can give you guys for Team Deathmatch that I see a lot of beginners make the mistake of is don't linger in the popular positions for too long. Now, most of us, just by playing, you'll learn the popular positions. These are the places that enemies are typically fighting for. You'll see snipers go to a lot. A lot of times it's a vantage point or it's kind of a power position. It has some good overlooks. It can see some great laneways and stuff, but they're extremely predictable. Now, I'm not saying don't ever go to these spots. There is absolutely nothing wrong with jumping up on that rooftop on solar, picking off a couple kills, and then moving on right away. That's actually a great strategy because you do have a great vantage point from up there. At the same time, I wouldn't sit up there all game because that's exactly where the enemies are going to be looking for you. is up on top of that rooftop or on the catwalk area on solar. I'm, for some reason, have solar in my mind right now. You don't want to just linger in those popular positions. You can push to them, pick off a kill, and move on, but don't stay there for too long. So that's pretty much it. If you follow all of these rules, you keep that safety net of a teammate, you retreat when things get too hot, you push up when you want a little bit more aggression in your life, don't camp, don't be a lone wolf. If you follow all of those rules, you will begin to find more success with Team Deathmatch. So I'd like to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. What's your strategy for dominating Team Deathmatch? How do you lead the lobby consistently? How do you get the highest kill spread possible? Do you lock down a position? Do you rush around like crazy? Because I know some people still can, and props to them. What do you do to dominate Team Deathmatch? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.